Hello, everyone. This is McCoy welcoming you back to another episode of Tours Plaza Classic, where last time we covered round one recap. No, round one predictions and players of interest that I've specifically highlighted so that you would know who to fear for and who to be threatened by in terms of your TPC journey. We introduced you to TPC, we introduced you to the meta, and now let's have fun. So, round one ended yesterday, and round two just dropped. So, there were a couple of matches that were played. We're going to cover all the games that were played because most of these games ended with a bye or an act win or the opponent just never showing up. You know, the typical thing with all round one matches in terms of a big tour such as this. Oh well. So, we're going to cover all the games that were covered in full view and were actually played. So let's take a look at them, shall we? Let's see what happened in all of the games. So the first game we would like to highlight is Rufna versus Sundays. Now, the meta, of course, being Gen 7 NUBL with inverse mod, so you're definitely gonna see a lot of play styles being developed. You're gonna see a lot of teams, a lot of whack teams being built, a lot of creative ones as well. But there's also some samey mods that you'll get to see once or twice, including this monkey, for example. So, game one of Rofna versus Sundays, definitely a good indicator of what things happened in this particular matchup. This was the first game that was ever played in TPC 4, so congratulations. And we had a strong start. We had an Ambipom uh, kind of start here, but Mudsdale being a great counter to Ambipom was definitely a big surprise. He got return, gunk shot, being walled by Mudsdale very nuts nonchalantly, and being enough to actually rest was a great counter to Ambipom. Very good choice, along with the Chesto Berry as well. Um, so yeah, that was definitely bad for Sundays. Also, what was pretty bad was letting the Clowitzer take the sleep, which you'll get to see right here. First of all, you get to see the body slam and not body press. Body press would have been a better set than body slam, not gonna lie. So yeah, right around here. First of all, Whimsy living and waking up using the tailwind was a good set of turns there for Rafna. Um, letting this sleep, letting this set up the quiver dance. Why didn't he switch? I have no idea. But just letting Vivian's quiver dance and then take the flying MZ, which critted Persian, admittedly, and then letting this take the sleep, which he could have used this thing much more often than it did. And then in the end, he ended up dying and getting swept by the Vivian towards the end. So unfortunate there for Sundays. Game two was a bit more interesting. Definitely leaning more towards Sunday's favor, even though they used the same team. What I wish Rofna would do, actually, is that it would have been more effective if he had done this after Zatu had set up the reflect, set up the light screen. Then Whimsicott would have been Tailwind, Memento, any status move really to try to take out Sunday's Mons. Would have been more effective so that you can tank hits like the Chinchino over here. And then towards the end, um, yes, Slurpuff tried to basically do the sweep, do the sweepy sweep, but Mini or Shell Smash along with Focus Sash definitely helped, and it Mini or getting to Shell Smash after Reflect had already wore itself out. That was a pretty coincidental couple of turns, and in that turn, Minior swept towards the end of the game, and that basically took Sunday win. Very good win for Sundays there, but game three, we started to notice a pattern. See, Sundays really likes his fake out Ambipom and Last Resort. Admittedly, that is a pretty cool move, It's a very niche set for all all ambipomps out there. Roughness, Ambipom proved to be a little bit more of a threat because it just kept coming in, getting the fake out, getting the revenge kills along the way. And especially that sucks when you're Sundays who has this week to it, this week to it. This is inverse, by the way. This week to it, this week to it, and just the rest couldn't take really much hits. Um, so yeah, Ralphna ended up winning this game by the horns, sweeping towards the end. Very, very convincing. Very well done for Ralphna. Unfortunate for Sundays. I really thought Sundays would have the win here because of how much Sundays has grown towards TP and how creative his builds can get by playing through Monita tours and whatnot. I thought he really had him here, but unfortunately, that's just nature of TP. He tours Plaza Classic that enabled you to lose round one. Just take a look at me. I lost round one last year, segueing it perfectly to Diego versus Sida Kid, the man who beat me in round one last year of TPC. Won again round two here, progressing through round two, and this time it was in 3 games. Well, there were only few 3 game series that happened in this week. Game one wasn't really much noteworthy because both players just played it very evenly straight. Both players had a pretty good idea on what the meta is, and in turn produced a very evenly paced game, which saw Diego pick up the win very, very convincingly. Game two, Sida actually had a better team. Typhlosion and Ninjask definitely helped in an inverse heavy meta where this is weak to rocks. Both actually resist rocks and was able to deal so much damage here. Eruption and just being an overall threat. Ninjask, in accordance to Diego's team. Very, very well put together team there. And then game three, where things got a little bit iffy for Sidha, or Devious Chungus, if you will. First off, if it loads. You see, first off, setting up the Dragon Dance with Avalog was pretty bad. When you're considering that Avalog has really good defense, it's not wise to set up with the Scraggy, why don't you? Especially with Outrage. Yes, you got the crit, but that does really matter because it has recover. Um, yeah, very questionable set of first turns there from Devious Chungus. Then missing the Focus Blast on the Vileplume, which was unfortunate. Then missing one on Rhydon. This one, he tried to set up a Swords Dance against a Rhydon, who had Earthquake. Bam! One hit KO. What was the point? Seriously. Ninjask would have been preserved and would have dealt a lot of damage to the rest. Why didn't you save it for later, bro? Ultimately, Diego just had a pretty convincing win. Otherwise, there wasn't really much anything to note game wise. Except for that, Bruxish dealing massive damage onto the Mega Glalie. But that's really about it for as far as momentum in Sidha's team is concerned. Diego ultimately played better and won. Next up is Procorfish versus EU. Now, this game was very interesting to watch. EU tried to use Sticky Web to his advantage. Like, this was definitely a case where hazards definitely help in the part of the opposing side, but it could actually ended up helping you in the long run, as proven by this matchup here. First off, the sticky web by the Slurpuff allowed Malamar to come in and get the speed boost in. So you think, oh, EU definitely has this now because Malamar's going to end up sweeping, right? He had Ditto in the back. Yeah, Ditto ended up giving him a lot of hell. And in the end, he just couldn't handle it. Also, that switching to Slurpuff was definitely a big misclick. That was very unfortunate, and in the end, EU So in the end, EU lost. Definitely wasn't worth noting there, as Prokorfish ended up winning game one. Game two, it was not much better, to be honest. Yes, there was a belly drum, but Avalug was there. Very, very crucial Avalug play, if I do say so myself. And Ditto once again, threatening the life of EU there by just constantly appearing, showing up, and just any shell smash sweeper just gets put down very, very easily because Ditto was there. Ditto ended up sweeping the rest of the team. Ambipom comes in, Ditto comes in, blah blah blah. Ditto ended up um, backfiring against EU, and Prokorfish took the win very handily. Poor EU. I really wish I'd get to see him more in TPC and ultimately prove why he is worth being called a good player. Fortunately, TPC wasn't just a good showcase of that. Next up is Poshik versus Jeran, or Poshik Moshek versus Akashi. This was definitely the match. I would call this the match of the week, but even this one was muddied up by a little bit of questionable plays. First of all, great sets. Don't get me wrong. The way these guys built their teams was very bulky. They're very much to their style, which I like. First of all, there was Icicle Crash and Shadow Ball. It was Icicle Crash, Pylus Line. Shadow Ball decision wise, very uncommon sit there, but the real kicker, the real highlight here was Tauros. It had Work Up and Ice Beam. As you can see right here, Work Up, and then tries to Body Slam the Avalug, and then it reveals Ice Beam the following turn. Very creative set, if I do say so myself, and Jarian definitely took that to his advantage. And then the game went in Jarian's favor. Admittedly, there was nothing really Plaka could do other than you know, well, he had a good sense of a matchup down as he took out all the offensive mons in Jarian's side, but the combination of Vaporeon bulk and Avalug bulk just really wasn't enough. Not getting the skull burdens either, but you get the point. Like Jaren ultimately had the win because he had these two. These two worked it off each other so well that it's hard to really get a sense of who's winning there. And yeah, Jaren ultimately took the win in game one. Very impressive in a very, very impressive fashion. Game two, Blackozek had a really strong start. Like a very strong start. Yes, he had taunt Archeops, which is very well, you see them a lot in NU, especially PU, but NU not so much. Electrode, being it the reflector was a smart, wise choice. While Slurpuff did all the damage, that was good. And then the player of miss first happened right around here, and it was like, oh, kind of iffy that it missed. It would have gotten the kill on Violet's line if it hadn't. But yeah, he seemingly had the game won at that point. He was playing so well. He was absolutely wanting to take the game in the game three. Even Okoing the Heliolisk was a big surprise because of his power trip Incineroar. Unfortunately, this play at turn 24, missing the Stone Edge. I get trying to catch the Vaporeon, but I think Type Null would have stayed in anyway. Um, Especially because it wants to rest talk. But of course, we didn't know that. But looking at the play, if you look at the field from where turn 24 was at, you could definitely see a little bit more of a lenience towards that particular play that Jaren would make. So Blanco ended up getting the 50-50 wrong there. Liquidation would have definitely killed on Type Null had he went for it, but he was trying to catch Vaporeon, so he lost on the 50-50. And then the Shell Smash happened, which you think, okay, he's gonna Shell Smash, he would probably try to offset damage with Type Null and try to deal some big damage. No, it got the rest talk and got frustration and ultimately killed it. How sad. Yeah, Plaka's X run, which started off pretty great in game two. Ultimately, Jaren took the win in a very, very sad fashion. Don't get me wrong, Jaren is a great player. We all know his skill. We all know how he plays. And better be scared, folks, because Jaren's come to play. Next up, Rex versus Royal Reloaded. Upset? Eh. Well, we consider where Royal Reloaded was at the beginning of the year. He was part of the winning team last year of BLT with the Snorlaxes. That's why he has this awesome custom avatar. But in terms of TPC, though, he didn't really play all that well. For game one, staying in with Vaporeon against attacking Glalie definitely wasn't this play wasn't definitely a strong play, not the wisest choice. And yeah, Rex just kind of outplayed Royal Reloaded by that point. The Quiver Dance Vivian definitely helped. The Decidueye ended up sweeping um the rest of Royal's team right here, especially when this Sylvala was put to sleep earlier. Got Leaf Bladed, got the crit, boom, done. Rex got the win there. Game two wasn't much better. Wasn't really much better showing for Royal Reloaded. I just don't think he's accustomed to this particular meta all that well. And I get it. I get why. NUBL inverse definitely a hard meta to learn. Even though you got a whole week to prepare, it's still a very, very hard thing to do. And unfortunately, his matchup wasn't as pretty as the one he had in game one. Rex just had an ultimately better team and ultimately a better matchup. Ultimately, got the win. Next up, we had MTB versus Sificon, who I just now learned that MTB was Magirna the boss. Fix your damn username, bro. Like, come on. MTB that could have been like Milk the Budweiser or something stupid like that. Change your dang username so it's not ambiguous to the plebs out here. Sheesh. No offense. No offense, but username bad. Game one. Magirna the Boss definitely had a better matchup of the two. Siffy just couldn't break that build that Magirna had, especially towards the way the game played out. Medicham and Barbarical were definitely the big threats to the team, and Siffy just couldn't break that with his team. Game two, Siffy tried a different approach, tried a more stally approach, as you can see by the team here. But a couple of moments happened. For example, the Delmise trapping Pyukumoko. That was not a good, as you need Pyukumoko to basically trap and stall. It getting trapped is definitely a bad choice. And then Tangela over here. Yeah, Leaf Storm, okay. Barbarical went for Shell Smash, and you think, okay, that's good. That's good. Tangela, what will you do? Leechy failed. Miss. Which was very unfortunate, as Barbarical ended up sweeping the rest without repercussions or anything like that of the sort. So yeah, I told you last video that Sificon had ups and downs in terms of his TP performances. This was definitely not one of his greatest performances, but he had a hard matchup. You could forgive him. Meanwhile, Magirna the boss, uh, great that he won. Great that he won against an established TP reg, and hope to see even better matchups from him. As we all know, Magirna the boss definitely a good player now in the landscape of TP, in the landscape of now TP at least. Next up, we had what should by name be versus Nat Krosma. Now, first game, it was very short, and by very short, I mean it only lasted like 5 turns because Nat Krosma did kind of a weird play here. It went for Sticky Web first before going for Final Gambit. Why didn't he just go for Final Gambit first? Like, come on. It's Slurpuff. It's either with two things with Slurpuff. It's the Web Setter or the Belly Drum Sweeper. Definitely expect the Belly Drum Sweeper a lot more. So yeah, kind of a weird play. Why didn't he just go for Final Gambit first? Because that's definitely the the wiser play of the two. So unfortunate there for game one, and that was a short game. He forfeited pretty early on. Game two wasn't much better. Necrozma brought a more trick room oriented team. Well, um, why should my name be brought the same team? He brought in Mega Camerupt. Mega Camerupt, it was a beast. Was a complete beast in this game. Sleep Talk, rest Sleep Talk, and getting the Fire Blast, the lucky chances of the Fire Blast hitting. That was a good set of a couple of first turn there. Setting up the Trick Room, definitely a poor choice by Nat Krosma because Camerup's already the slowest freaking Mega. And yeah, getting critted with the Fire Blast, not good. Bam, the Explode dying. Not very good display by Nat Krosma. What should my name be? Ended up winning in a pretty easy game. Not gonna lie. What wasn't easy though was my game. Segueing in perfectly nicely, it is my game now versus multi Pokemon. This one, yeah, as you may know, my choice of build style is a very bulk centered, not hyper offensive, not stally, definitely somewhere around the middle. So you never know what to expect with me. I build very, very whack teams sometimes. Um, Game one, I definitely abused Explode a lot. This one is just very, very powerful. I know, right? Specs Explode was too strong for this meta. I even avoided the Zing Zaps from Togedemaru just to be safe. So yeah, that was good. I had a little bit of scare towards the middle because Vileplume just woke up very early for my liking. Barbarical was definitely the biggest threat, but and yes, the Stone Edge that was definitely a poor play on my part. But Incineroar coming in, it revealing Grass Knot, interesting choice, but yeah, the Fire MZ ended up winning this entire game. That was pretty simple. Game two definitely harder because I brought a different team, which wasn't as good as the first one. I tried bringing Blastoise, but it was RU, so I couldn't. Um, but yeah, the rest of it was pretty simple. I started off with some pretty good hits, admittedly, getting the crit on Stone Edge, getting a kill to Rhydon really early without setting up rocks, and then killing the Togedemaru with Zatu Psyshock. That was definitely a strong first. But then, Vanillix kept waking up. Rotom was there. Why didn't I go for the freaking Will-O-Wisp there? Admittedly, that was a pretty bad switch hitchin for my liking, and that ended up costing me big time. If I maybe because I was locked in the Thunderbolt, that was the problem because I was Scarf Rotom. Um, but yeah, he didn't know that. So I ended up switching. Pretty bad switch hitch, admittedly, and then boom, I ended up losing. I tried going into Rotom again because I thought Will-O-Wisping would be the best choice, but it outsped me, even as a Scarfer. And yeah, Barbarical, just a major threat. And I was scared going into game three because, oh boy, would I lose to Barbarical yet again. Game three, I really should have invested speed on Xploud, admittedly. This one was too slow to even catch a ride on. It was a poor choice on my end. I really should have uh, invested speed in Xploud so they can really do the thing that Xploud is known for. That's just simultaneous boom bursts. Um, Vanillux freezing Vileplume was definitely a bad omen, and I didn't want that. I'm happy that I got to keep Vaporeon though towards the end because Vaporeon definitely helped. First of all, Togedemaru. First of all, Hitmontop beating the Togedemaru was very epic, but still, here's the thing. Shell Smash Barbarical. You think, oh no, what will I do? Will I wish? No, I went with Ice Beam. That was a 50-50 play on my part. It was either wish or Ice Beam. I went with Ice Beam as the riskier play. Ultimately paying off, killing the Barbarical, and then winning the whole game. Leaving the Delmise, and yeah, multi-Pokemon is not a bad player by any means. Quite decent, if I do say so myself. Wow. While it was a hard matchup, I'm happy I got the W, and GG's. GG's to multi-Pokemon. Good player, that. And finally, last game to review, at least for round one's sake, is Latios versus Hirukusai. First game. This one was weird. It was out of order when Latios posted it. So because the first two here were his wins, and then the third one is a Terra win. So this went to 3 games, but it was in the wrong order, I think. Um, Game one, nothing really much happened game wise, but there were a couple of moments where I'm like, questionable play here. Hey, brought Blastoise. What am I thinking? So yeah, Vaporeon letting it go to sleep was definitely the unwise choice on my end. From what I saw, Vaporeon just had all the tools in the world. When it was put to sleep by Vileplume, that was very crucial because Vaporeon needed the its wish passing capabilities to try to heal off any damage from Bombasnow or Sandslash or Passimian. But the fact that it slept, very not good, and ended up costing Terukasai the win here as the Icicle Crash missed at the end, but I don't think it mattered. I don't think it mattered. Game 2, which I believe was this one, I really like Latias's Abomasnow set. It's very, very fun. It's very counterable as well to Exploud because it has Soundproof and Leech Seed Substitute, which is a very, very good set. And even commented, nice set. I agree. Turkisai, though, played real better here. Nothing really much other noteworthy moments, but Turkisai definitely played better. I wish he played this consistently when he had to game 3, though. Because game 3, weird set choices kept piling up. There was knockoff Cryogonal, which admittedly I was a fan of, because you never see that run knockoff, but it is a very effective Cryogonal move. A move for Cryogonal. Arcap's Life Orb, questionable. That was more questionable. Nothing really too much happened in this game other than the fact that Silvally at the end was crippled by Toxic, and the crit edge basically sealed it and gave Latias the W. So, that's the end of reviewing. On to the predicts. And it's prediction time. I hope everyone gets to play and actually plays. Let's see. First game, we saw Clastia versus. Let's predict. So first matchup here, we're seeing Clastia versus Mr. Bossaru. A very, very good matchup on paper. We saw Clastia OMMs, very, very good. He competed in TPP last year and did pretty well there against Mr. Bossaru, who is a staple in Smogon at this point. Contacted, thy name is Bossaru. Admittedly, though, he got out-contacted by Clastia. And also took my first place spot in the reserve code, whatever. I'm going to pick Clastia on this one. Also, the tier chosen here is Gen 8 UU plus C moves. Singles tier wise, I think Clastia's still the better player, even though Bosser can still put up a fight. Clastia, I think, should win in here. Next up, Akashi versus Tranquility. Highlight, highlight, highlight. Jaren versus Axe God is a highlight. Mr. Tours versus Mr. TP. Who's better at singles tiers? Jaren. Who's better at adapting to weird metas? It's dicey, but I'm Tranquility can well adapt, but Jaren can adapt at an even higher level. And for that reason, I'm gonna pick Akashi on this one. Even though we're all rooting for you, Tranquility, go Axe God. We know you are owed a TP win, a TP singles tour win. Uh, Next up is Rex versus Ashbella. We've seen Rex perform against Royal Reloaded and did okay. He did okay. Ashbella, though, we've seen them in Plaza quite a bit, and he's well adapted to the metas. I think enough time has passed for me to consider them, get them noticed. So I'm gonna pick Ashballa on this one on the merits that comparing these two, I think Ashballa is the better player. Next up, Hunter Noob versus Shadow Master. I've never seen Hunter Noob before, but I have seen Shadow Master, and I've seen them multiple times to know that they are the next generation of Plaza players. I think him, Pegasub, Grandmaster, that era of TP that we're living in now. Yeah, Shadow is one of the pillars of that new era, and I think them with so much experience, I think they'll win here. They'll win here 100%. But it's only a matter of time if we ever see the potential of Hunter Noob. But for now, I'm going with Shadow Master. Next up is Frixel versus Doron. Um, I may not like to. I don't want to, but I have to. I'm going with Frixel in this one. Frixel, or let's just not comment. If you know Frixel, you know Frixel. Okay, Frixel's going to win. Sabo versus Lechen. Highlight. Kind of a highlight match for if you're a new kind of breed of Plaza player. Saba, as we know, is an old boomer, but he is the reigning Tours Plaza Classic champion against Lechen, who is good on paper. Like, he can adapt to a lot of metas, but towards more experienced players, I think he drops the ball quite a lot. And Saba is a pretty big ball. Oh, it's a big name in the Torch Plaza scene. And as much as Lechen, Lechen's gonna have to come up with some real good meta sweeping, meta defining abilities in order to beat Saba, who is going to win. Next up, Ass Kid versus the Dragon Master. I've never seen AS Kid before, but we've seen Dragon Master before. He's Advata, if you remember. Advata, great, good player. Definitely has accumulated a lot of experience over recent tours and has done well in them to merit some points in the TP community. So Advata should get the win here. Next up, Ruffna versus Floor. A little more dicey, a little bit more questionable than most matches out there. Floor, we haven't actually seen a lot. We haven't seen them compete in a lot of in any sort of capacity in tours and Plaza, nothing. Meanwhile, Ruffna, we've seen them beat Sundays last round, so another test here against Stitch. Where I'll go with Floor on this one, but only barely. I won't be surprised though if Ruffna wins because I think Floor has been washed. After not playing for so long, it's only a matter of time if you're washed, right? So yeah, Ruffna should win. Here or Floor should win, but I won't be surprised if Ruffna wins. Diego Yuhi versus One Last Kiss. Now, I've seen these two pop up in Plaza before, and these two are good players. I'll admit they're good players. Um, and comparatively speaking, though, I think One Last Kiss is better, so I think I'm gonna go with them. I won't be surprised if Diego wins, but One Last Kiss should win, if that makes any sense. MTB versus Metagross Architect 2. I've never seen the other guy before, so let's go Magirna the Boss. If you know Magirna the Boss, he's a great, decent player. Definitely belongs in that sort of new generation era I talked about in Plaza. So he's a good player. I will admit he's a good player. So I will go with Bagirna the boss on this one. Next up is Grandmaster versus Mace. Mr. TP Grinder from years past versus Mr. TP Grinder now. Uh, this is gonna be a hard fight. This is definitely gonna be a hard fight because Grandmaster has adapted to so many metas and has gained a lot of points in the Plaza leaderboard. I wish an entire cycle would just be our matchup there, but no, 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 no. I'm gonna have to build some really good artillery in order to wage war with Grandmasters. So let's just say, let's just say, I wish him the best of luck. May the best man win. Next up, Procorfish versus Prince of Underworld. Haven't seen much of Prince of Underworld. I think he's a new player. He just joined this year. Procorfish, who defeated EU. Let's go with them, I guess. They did show some potential after beating EU. So let's see if what they can do here in this next round. Next up, Tenebrosite versus What Should My Name Be? Good win last round by What Should My Name Be? But it was against an easy opponent, so not really a good indicator there on how the skills go. Tenebrosite I've never seen, but he is an oldie. He's got a badge, and he's 6 years. He's 6 years old in Smogon. So I think I'm gonna go Tenebrosite here, even though I've never seen them before. I may have to look into them later to see how good they can be, or I'll ask people. Please leave your responses in the comments below if you know some of these players that I don't know. For example, this one, Mac Knife versus Garrett. Yes, I'm talking about Mac Knife in this situation now. I don't know Garrett, even though he has a badge. He's a pre-contributor. I don't know Garrett, but we'll definitely look into him after this video. Mac Knife, no, he's a meme. Like he is the meme of he is despair god of towards Plaza. So I think we'll go with Garrett on this one. Mac should Mac can play. If Mac plays well, he can play well. Unfortunately, this isn't doubles Mac, so sorry. Euphanos versus Geo. This one's a highlight if you're a Plaza boomer like me. Because Euphanos, as we've known, is a spectacular builder, one of the best players we've seen in Plaza for quite some time. Geo, definitely an old veteran of Plaza Tours. She's definitely, if she can play well, she plays damn well. But the question is her motivation. Is she well motivated enough to compete against Euphanos? I know for a fact that if she gets drawn against bigger players, there's a little bit of doubt starts to seep in. But I believe in Geo. Of I think I just want her to play to the best. Like her best is on point. Euphanos is a hard opponent to beat. So I wish both of them the best of luck. I really want to see this live. Latias versus Giga Chandelure is the last one. I haven't seen Giga Chandelure all that much. Latias though I have seen. They're good. They're good. They're manager before. Let's go with Latias on this one. Shouldn't be a hard choice. Right, right. So thank you all for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and good luck to the remaining players of TPC, including yours truly. I'm so snarky, aren't I? But yeah, good luck to the rest. I hope we get to see some good games. I hope we get to see some fun sets and some fun matches. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you wouldn't miss a video once they come out. And I'll see you next time for round 2 recap and round 3 predictions. So, this has been Mikoy, signing out.